I was a athlete my whole life. I grew up in a really close, loving home. My dad was a local pastor. I have two brothers, a younger sister, and grew up playing sports my whole life. There's always just something missing though. I always never really felt like I fit in.
Aaron Emerson, now 22, said it all started here at Mason High School.
It's one of the most prevailing problems in our country right now.
I had a lot of good friends. I had a good future. For some reason, there was always just a hole that I could never fill. In high school, I started to get involved with some different people, and the first chance I got offered to really go to like a party, I went and smoked marijuana there. And eventually that just wore out. It wasn't strong enough. And around that time, I was about a sophomore at Mason High School. There's a lot of painkillers around my school. Started with Vicodin. I continued that for about a year, maybe, different painkillers.
Mason Police Chief John Stressman says prescription pill abuse is leading to more serious problems, including heroin addiction.
It's not just up and coming, it's here, and we're trying to address it.
Amy Moore is helping to educate and organize safe disposal of unused pharmaceuticals through take-back programs in mid-Michigan. She runs prevention programs through grants at the Ingham County Health Department.
One of the reasons that we were able to address the problem in a comprehensive way is that Ingham County was able to secure a demonstration grant from Michigan Department of Environmental Quality. We were one of 5 communities in the state of Michigan to get a demonstration grant for medication disposal.
Medication disposal started here at the Mason City Hall, with the drop box always available for unwanted and unused pills.
We were the first department in Ingham County to have a drop box. We basically set the standard on what could be taken in, what kind of volume would be taken in, because people were bringing it from all over the county when they found out we had it.
Painkillers at that time were my medicine, really, to like fit in with other people. And then later on that school year, there's a big problem with the OxyContin, and it was really easy to get. A lot of my friends were trying it, and so I tried it one time. By that time, I was really becoming addicted.
What people report is 80% of the time they got their pills from friends, family, through buying, stealing, or borrowing the medicine.
I started stealing to support my habit because the OxyContin really took me over the edge to where I was getting physical withdrawal symptoms when I wouldn't have it.
The more a pill is abused and the higher intake to get high, it becomes very expensive for the abuser to use, and we're finding that they're turning to heroin.
At that point, a lot of my friends that I was using OxyContin with were moving on to heroin.
And before the problem gets that far, Chief Stressman and others are making sure people become aware of the problem and have resources to prevent it.
We've been into the schools. We've gone to the public arena. We make public presentations, and we're trying to educate the public on what the problem is, how to look for it, and how to prevent it.
Me saying I would never do heroin my whole life as a kid, that didn't mean anything to me now that I was addicted and I needed drugs to not be sick and feel good about myself. So I did it, and that was when my life just completely went out of control.
Now a year clean, Emerson is back on track and wanting to help others.
I'm out there to help. That's my life now, is just helping other people.
We want to start talking about this and not thinking, oh, it could never happen here. It's happening everywhere. It's happening here, it's happening in the suburbs, it's happening in the cities, it's happening to all of our populations.
A strong support system now helps Emerson get by, one day at a time.
I break it down to just 24 hours at a time, and it's a lot easier like that. I still have a lot of tough times though where I want to use drugs or I get a craving to use it, and that's really hard. But that's why I have a support system. And when I feel down like that or want to go back, I'll call one of my sponsors or my recovery coach, and they'll sort of talk me through it and help me get back on track for that time. And
Is it a problem in Mason?
To me, one person abusing it, one student abusing it would be a problem. Is it an epidemic? No. Is it abused? Yes. Just recently we had on the same day 2 cases where high school students had been caught by administrators with both marijuana and prescription pills that they had intent on selling. They'd already arranged their customers.
I've seen so many times just people who just said they're going to experiment with something, and all of a sudden they turn into a full-blown addict. Drugs like that can take your life and just grip it and take a hold of it so quick. And it happens so fast, and your life can just go downhill so fast.
We don't want children to be taking medicine that the doctor doesn't know that they're taking or that isn't intended for their body, especially psychotropics. I mean, pain medicine particularly, because that child could be predisposed to addiction and not know it.
The new face of addiction is just your regular people. A lot of people think that the heroin addict or prescription drug addict is some homeless guy living under a bridge or something, but that's not true anymore. It can happen to anyone, and I noticed that right here in my town of Mason, the little town, there's a bunch of people like me that went through the same thing, and people from good families. So a big part of that is changing the face of addiction, realizing that it can happen to anyone.
For the Mason Times, I'm Daniel Hamburg.